0, 1.
Let's get started.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show. I'm your host Andreas. Thank you for tuning in. So the fixture's been announced. We've all seen it. We've all shared our thoughts. We've seen other clubs' fixtures. Let's get into it. So straight off the bat, you'd think that we've won the grand final 2 years in a row, and we've got Anyway, so Fox Footy are saying that this is the third hardest fixture in the competition, the one that we've got. Now, I'm gonna just revert people to go back and watch a video that I posted a couple of weeks ago saying that Collingwood was the Bank of Collingwood for the AFL, and I stand by everything I said in that video. Most of what I said in that video has come into fruition. And I posted on my Instagram yesterday and I said, I bet you any money after Anzac Day we'll play either Geelong or Hawthorn. I put that on there as my own opinion, and lo and behold, who have we got after Anzac Day? So let's just go through it. We'll have, we won't go in depth with every single game because we'll be here all night, but I will vent my frustrations. I will vent the negatives and also talk about whatever little positives we've gotten out of the fixture. And let's be real, before we even get into it, this is purely a Collingwood point of view. There's going to be people that are going to watch this video from other supporting channels, and I've already got an inbox on one of them today. And look, yeah, they made some fair points. Collingwood's got 15 games at the MCG or whatever it is, and our run home is like 8 out of 9 games all at the MCG. Before we get into talking about each game, I just want to make a point very, very clear, is that every single AFL club wants to play, the Melbourne-based clubs, wants to play a home game at the MCG against Collingwood because we make them the most amount of money and we draw the biggest crowds. So we can't play Melbourne teams interstate. We can't play Melbourne teams at different venues. It's going to be most likely all the time at the MCG because that's where the money is, and we can't help that. I would gladly lose some of those MCG games and play North Melbourne again at Marvel Stadium and play West Coast away again at Optus Stadium. I would happily lose that to get the fixture that Carlton have got. So let's just put that out there. But at the end of the day, you can only beat who's in front of you. So let's just get straight to it. So obviously we know that we didn't want to play opening round. We didn't make the final, so our pre-season, we've got a little bit longer. We've got a little bit longer time now to train. So we've got more of a pre-season up our sleeves. So I guess traveling to the cow paddock is perfectly fine. So we've got GWS in opening round again, which obviously is I think is going to be a lot more closer contested game than what it was in 2024. Round 1, we've got Port Adelaide at our first home game of the season at the MCG. I'm surprised that game there isn't one of the games they put at Marvel Stadium because we did play them there at Marvel a few years ago. But anyway, the last couple of years have all been at MCG, so that's a Saturday night game. Then obviously the first bank game for the Western Bulldogs and the AFL, it's their anniversary game. We're playing them at the MCG. Haven't played them at the G, I don't think, since 2021, round 1, I think. So yeah. Then we've got a bye round 3. Then Thursday, April the 3rd, round 4, we've got Carlton at the MCG. Then round 5, gather round, we've got Sydney, which is our home game. In gather round, I really, and there's another thing there too, another argument about how Collingwood get all these games at the MCG. I would have been happy to play Sydney away, right, and then to play another Melbourne team at gather round, just for the sake of it. But whatever, it is what it is. So we're playing Sydney at gather round. That's our home game. Then traditional another game, another club making a dollar out of us. A marquee game, Easter Thursday against Brisbane at the Gabba. Then we've got round 7 is the Anzac Day game, the only marquee game I think that is worthy of playing. Anyway, I'm so pissed off with this. And then round 8, we have Geelong. So let's just stop there for a second. Okay, so round 8, May the 3rd, we have Geelong. So let's look at the first 8 games. Finalist, bye, finalist, grand finalist, Premier, Essendon, missed, Geelong, prelim final. So yeah, anyway, then round 9, we've got Freo away. Ooh, we're playing away game. There you go, everybody. Are you happy? And then we've got Adelaide at the G in round 10, which is that's one of the early games that we play. We usually play Adelaide at home now on an early game. Then obviously our away game at Marvel Stadium, fair enough. North get a home game against us. It's always going to be at Marvel. Be nice to play them one day at the MCG. So that's their pretty much marquee game for the season. And then Friday, May the 30th, round 12, we've got Hawthorn at the MCG, which that is a blockbuster game. That's going to be a good game. Following that game, we've got round 13, we've got Melbourne, which is the King's birthday game, another marquee game. And then we have a bye, which we usually have around that time of the season. So that's fine. So by round 14, we've had 2 byes. And by round 14, most clubs then would have had both their byes, most clubs. So that's usually the time of the season that you'd really start to see the ladder cementing itself when it all breaks out even. Round 15, we've got St Kilda. Now, this is interesting. The Collingwood website, when they first posted the fixture, I think they've fixed it now, but the Collingwood website actually posted that we're playing St Kilda a home game at the MCG, but we'll end up playing them at Marvel Stadium, which I find weird that we're playing them at Marvel Stadium, our home game, and not another interstate team, considering that St Kilda are a main tenant at Marvel, but it is what it is. So we're contracted to play home games there. I just thought maybe that would have been we played them at the G last year. It was better atmosphere, but it is what it is. Then we're backing it up again in round 16 and we're playing against West Coast. Now from round 16 onwards, it's a floating fixture that hasn't been released yet, as we all know. So we've got West Coast at Marvel, which we tend to play them now when we play in Melbourne at Marvel anyway. So that's fine. And then straight away after that, we've got Carlton at the MCG. Now, I don't know what dates these are. This is just round 17. Everything's TBC. So Carlton and Collingwood at the G, round 17. Round 18, we travel up to Gold Coast, who have just released their logo. Side note, bit boring. I can see the G, I can see the C, I can see the S in it, the sun in the middle, the lines to try and, make the seaside horizon and stuff like that, I suppose. It works. It's boring. It is what it is. Participant club, really. Then we've got Freo at home. So that's our second time that we play a team twice. Obviously, the first one being Carlton. And then round 20, we play Richmond. Now, you think that even though Richmond are shit, you'd think that we'd actually play them again, as in twice in a season, but we're tending to play them only once, which I don't think does that justice. I mean, both clubs have got a massive supporter base. I know Richmond haven't turned up the last 2 years, but you'd still think that we should play them twice. Then we've got Brisbane again, Hawthorn again, and then Adelaide again. So we're playing all our double ups, and then obviously we finish up with Melbourne. So yeah, we've got a fair few MCG games. Adelaide Oval against Adelaide, being the only one in round 23 of the last 9 games that we play away. But geez, you'd like to have West Coast and North Melbourne, or a Richmond twice, or a St Kilda twice, considering that we didn't make finals. And traditionally, if you don't make finals, you get a little bit of a softer fixture. But that's our fixture, obviously leading into finals, should we make it. So tell me what you think about the fixture. Personally, myself, I'm not too happy with the teams that we've got at the start, but it is what it is. Before we head off, and this is just purely this is what it is. Tell me what you think. I just think, at the end of the day, you beat whoever's there. If we're going to be the best, we'll just beat them all like we did in 2023 and like we did for a lot of the top sides last year. Let's just go to Carlton for a second. All right, they're not playing opening round. They didn't want to, whatever, fine. Richmond round 1. They got Hawthorn round 2, Bulldogs round 3, and then us round 4. So that starts a bit like that's not easy for them. But then round 5, they've got West Coast at home. They've got North Melbourne at Marvel. Yep, fair enough. They've got Geelong. And then they play Adelaide. Then they play St Kilda. Then fair enough, they've got to go to Sydney. Then they play GWS at Marvel. Then they play Essendon. Now, if you look at the teams they play twice, I'm pretty sure they've got West Coast twice, North Melbourne twice, us twice, Hawthorn twice, and Essendon twice. That's not bad. For a team that made the finals and that's looking to really push, they did all right. I know a few Carlton supporters that have said that, geez, if we don't finish on top of the ladder after the fixture that we've got, shout out to you, Snap. I know you're watching, Snapper by the Bay. Yeah. But look, I'm not going to be the one sitting here whinging and stuff and complaining about stuff, because in the day, I still think we're going to be right there at the pointy end of the season. But I just think that realistically, you would have liked to given us another couple of sides twice instead of the start that we've got. The start is, look, I'm going to put this out there now. If we are around the pointing end of the ladder after the first 9 weeks of the season, I'll eat my words and I'll shut up. But personally, I think that's I wouldn't say not fair, but I don't think it's reasonable. The 15 games of the MCG kind of makes up for it. I get that. But I've got to stress to other supporters as well that would watch this or that would say something to the Collingwood supporters, say, oh, you get all these games of the MCG, stuff like that. Like, we would have had another game at Marvel Stadium if the Bulldogs didn't want to pick us for their anniversary game. There would have been an away game at Marvel, okay? Which means maybe we would have played West Coast at the MCG, who knows? Or St Kilda at the MCG, who knows? But you can't turn around to Collingwood supporters and you can't say, oh, you only get games at the MCG. So we travel just as much as everybody else, okay? And not only that, other clubs want to play us for their marquee home game. So, and the Melbourne sides. So what are we supposed to do? Like how are we supposed to say no to that? Because, if there's other big games and we're getting some money out of it, of course the club's going to say yes. But then you get the argument saying, oh, you play these games at the G. I would happily, and I said this at the start of the video, I would happily trade a couple of MCG games and take them interstate or two at Marvel to play North Melbourne and give us that side of the fixture. But it's a compromise fixture. It is every single season. That's just my opinion. So drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Call it as you see it. And as always, go the Pies.